definitely let us know. For those who are going to be watching this later, we welcome you to check in with us and put your comments in the chat box. Our conversation today is going to be with an individual who we cannot thank enough, that is actually more so in the same boat that some of you are in. She got to the point where she passed the exam on the first try, and she's going to walk us through her process, and maybe we can learn from her what it is that we need to do in order for us to be successful. So thank you, Krystle, for being here.
Thank you, Brenda, for having me.
Yes, yes. Let's see. Let me check in with people here. Let us know of your journey. Okay. Thank you. We are going to be presenting some information that will be for the visual person, and Krystle will just announce, I guess, speak through it, because sometimes people are listening to us when we're driving. And so today we are going to start at the beginning. Some of you are going to be stumbling upon this video because you want to get started on your journey towards getting your real estate license. And so that's where we're going to start. There'll be a couple of information that is shared with you that you can always check out on our website as well, that will give you the information that you need, and that is trainingwithbrenda.com. To get started in terms of getting your real estate license here in the state of Maryland, there are three major steps that you need to go through. The first one is you need to go through a 60-hour course. That 60 hours, we're going to give you a flavor of what that looks like based on Krystle's experience. You're going to go through the 60 hours. And then the next big step is going to be you passing that real estate exam. That real estate exam now qualifies you for you to go ahead and get your actual license. To get that license, you need to affiliate yourself with a real estate company or brokerage. Even though majority of us are independent contractors, you still have to be tied to a brokerage. Now, if you don't like that, you have the opportunity and the choice to open your own brokerage, and you're the one who's now having people work under your company. However, you do need to have been licensed as a salesperson for 3 years. You'll go through another course, and then you're also going to take the exam for you to become you open your own brokerage, or then you will be known as a broker. We're going to now dig deeper into the course itself. So step one of the three is going through the course. That 60-hour course is timed, and it is going to be the first step of this part here. So complete 60 hours. What does that mean? If, let's say, you are taking the course with an instructor and the schedule is Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and one of the Fridays you're not able to make it, you would need to make up that time before you're able to proceed to the next step. So they do count that 60 hours. The two ways that you're able to take that course is going to be self-paced with no instructor. And Krystle will walk us through it because that's the method that she elected to do, and so she'll share why. Or the other route is with an instructor. Anytime there's an instructor involved, there's a schedule based on when we instructors are available. You do have the option to go physically to a location, or you can take it virtually through a platform like Zoom. This first step also comes with a final exam in order for you to graduate over to the next step. So you're taking hours, and then there's a final exam that you would need to pass. Check out our videos on our channel that can help you with that particular step. Now you're ready to go to the next step. So you've completed this final exam and the 60 hours. Now you're ready to go take the real estate exam, which is step number 2. The real estate exam is offered by a company known as PSI, and there are 8 locations in Maryland. You'll be able to register yourself on their website and go take the exam. I have the amount of $44 each time. What does that mean? You go in and things don't work out the way you hoped. You schedule to go back and take the exam. There are 2 parts of the exam. If, let's say, you passed one part of the exam, then you'll just go back and work on the other part. You will pay $44. How many times can you go? As many times as your budget allows, because you have 1 year from the moment you finish the course. Let's assume you started the course this month, and now you finish it by March the 31st. From March the 31st, 2025, you have until March 31st, 2026 to go pass the exam. So if it takes you 1 try like Krystle, great. If it takes you 10 times, again, that's okay. Nobody really cares. I know you do. But once you start practicing, we don't ask those questions. Hey, how many times did you go take the real estate exam? Your buyers, your sellers, your landlords, and the tenants are only going to care about the service that you provide to them. So to get your license, which is the 3rd step, is where you would need to select which company you're going to work for. You have enough time to research and interview different companies. By the time you get to this spot, you need to be 18 years old. So this is where, if a parent is watching and you have a guardian to an individual who's, let's say, 16 or 17, they could start taking this course as early as that, as long as by the time they are getting their license, which is, again, they take the course 60 hours, and then they go take the exam. By the time they're actually getting their license, they would need to be 18 years old. And then they're going to pay the licensing fee of $98 as of this recording. And that license is good for 2 years. So that's the beginning part. Now what we want to do is introduce our guest speaker, Krystle Patrick, who's now going to talk about your journey. So I'll be interviewing you anytime you have questions. Anyone who's watching, you would need to log in and put your questions in the chat box. It should show on the right-hand side of your screen if you're on a computer. And so we welcome you that. We also do recommend that you check out our website, trainingwithbrenda.com, when you're ready to sign up for the course. Krystle, how did you get started?
Well, Brenda.
Yes.
So it was a thought. It started with a thought. Then I really thought about it for about a solid week or so. And then that's when I reached out to you and I decided, okay, the options that I have, what are the options that I have to take the real estate exam, the real estate course? And
Right.
I decided to do the online self-paced, mainly because I study better alone as opposed to being in a whole group or in a classroom, because if I don't understand something, I tend to stop and not move on until I understand. And I wanted to be in a predicament where I can do that and not hold up class or hold up someone else.
Okay.
So that was the main reason why I chose self-paced online, just because of my learning style. Has nothing to do with, and then the convenience of it too. That was a big one.
And convenience for you is because you could log in anytime?
Yes, you can log in at any time of the day, which I did, and just spend time studying or reading material or going over a unit or just checking to see where did I end the last time to plan my day for the next, to plan my study for the next day. So the convenience of that was perfect. Even if I'm on my phone and I'm like, I remembered, oh, I, I could go check out this unit or this particular term that I learned the day before, and I kind of want to refresh my memory on it. Just log in
Mhm.
from my phone, able to see it there too. So the convenience of it.
You mentioned that your style is that if you don't get it, you'll stop and then you're going to dig deeper. So, here, just for somebody who maybe needs to understand how the self paced course is, everything is online, right? Yes, were there any like videos that were embedded in the course, or you had to be proactive in terms of researching a different way that something was explained?
So for the national piece, there are a lot of videos embedded from the in the course itself.
Mm-hmm.
The videos were just pretty much an explanation of what was already said. A lot of times it was you read the content and then there's a video at the end and it's just a recap and a summary of what you went through. And then other videos in the course were actual real life examples and scenarios so that you can understand the content even further.
Mm-hmm. And then to proceed, just for somebody who might consider this route, there's like stop, check what you know in terms of there, how many units are there,
There
including Maryland? 30
30,
something.
33, I think it
Right.
was.
So
Yeah.
30, okay. So 33 units. So when you're doing it self paced, now here keep in mind the different schools that offer this particular course. For the one that Krystle selected, it's 33 units. And before you go to unit 2, there's also quizzes for you to go through it. And all that is just to make sure that you somehow have an understanding of the content. So that's Krystle style. Another individual might be like, there's no way I'm going to read the content on my own and potentially do well. And therefore, I'm preparing that person. If you want an instructor led type of a course, be prepared for a schedule. And so you need to plan accordingly in order for you to fit in that particular schedule. Versus self paced, you can do it at any time. Okay, good. What else would you share, Krystle? So now you've gone through the course. What's next? Did we lose Krystle? Okay. I think we lost Krystle. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's my side. This is technology. I'm going to check in on her and see. Because on my end, I'm not seeing her. So we are going to shift a little bit. And I am going, okay, there you go. She got kicked out. We'll wait for her to come in. If there's anyone who has questions for us while we're waiting for Krystle, as technology is here trying to challenge us, let us know in the chat box. However, I am going to continue until I hear back from her and just talk about the classes. Is that the schedule could be during the day, let's say 9 to 5, or it could be in the evening. A lot of people pick that choice because it works for them based on their life schedule or their lifestyle. And then there's some schools that are going to offer it over a weekend, and that could be either Saturdays. Okay, she's coming back. Krystle just shared. That's okay. That's okay. No worries. So she's going to be joining us. Where was I? So the schedule is where you can take it on Saturdays, or you can take it Saturday and Sunday. So you are welcome. Thank you. It on YouTube, it's showing Kicking It with Kiki TV. I'm curious to see what you do. I might check you out later. So I'm just reading out what you're sharing. Thank you so much for the information so far. If somebody signs for a Zoom course, can they switch to self-paced? Great question. The question that was presented for those who are not live with me is, can you switch? So here is Krystle, who started self-paced. It's working for her. She gets all the way to unit, I don't know, 16. And then life things happen. And now she wants to go through an instructor. Yes, you can switch. However, the time that you spent on the self-paced is not able to switch over to the live version, because usually it's different schools, and or vice versa. If you started with an instructor, you go through 20 hours and now you want to switch to self-paced, you just have more knowledge. The hours that you spent are not able to cross over between the two ways that you can take the course. However, if you're taking it with an instructor, for example, and here it's going to depend on the number of classes being offered. So let's say you start off on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that schedule is not working for you. You can always check with the school and see if you can switch to a different schedule. That's always possible, because you're keeping it within the school and it's the same format that you are taking the course. Welcome back, my dear. Thank
So
you.
sorry.
Thank
So
you.
sorry.
Thank you. We had gotten to the point where you had shared why you selected the self-paced version just based on how you study. So now walk us through getting to the final exam of the course.
Yeah, so the final exam that came after a lot of I reached out to Brenda a few times and we had, she was very encouraging. So make sure you have someone who can encourage you in your corner, because you'll have moments of just giving it all away and like, oh, forget it. But for the final exam, I did have some time for like a prep exam
Mm-hmm.
beforehand. So I actually used that practice exam to study for the final exam. So whatever
Okay.
topics was mentioned in the practice exam, I just went back to each unit and studied those topics.
Okay.
And that was
Okay.
able to prepare me for the actual final exam itself.
Okay. So you used the breakdown of the questions for the PSI?
No. So for the final exam of the course, I used the
Got it.
practice exam to study for the final exam of the course.
Okay, so now pause a little bit there. So here's Krystle, who's taken the 60 hours self-paced. We're just painting a picture as to how this course works. When you got through each unit, you are kind of quizzed to make sure that you're ready to go to the next quiz. And then when you got through the end, unit 33, right? Now you're done. There's a practice exam. Some of you will call that like a mock exam, whatever it is, this practice exam. You're able to take it as many times as you want. And so that's what you're saying. Whatever you missed out on, you went back now to get better at understanding it, because now the question has given you opportunity to review.
Exactly.
Then
Exactly.
you went, got it. Thank you. Then you I'm sorry, not went. You took the final exam. Now, here's where I'm going to pause again and just share differences amongst the different schools that offer the self-paced version. For you to go through the final exam on the self-paced course, some schools are going to have a live proctor type of a scenario, meaning you would go physically to a library, and then whomever is in the library is assigned to watch you go through that final exam. Some schools, again, on the self-paced option, will have maybe, and that's what we did with Krystle. I was monitoring her. We got on Zoom and I was watching her as she was going through the final exam. So just keep in mind, in terms of the final exam, how it's going to work out. Most of the times you're going to have a proctor type of a thing when you're taking it self-paced. So that's the self-paced version. So now you've gone through, okay? So good question. Is there a percentage you must pass in order to proceed on the practice test. So the practice test, no. Let's talk about the final exam, right? So the practice exam here, kicking it with key, is going to be as many times as you want to go through it. What matters is a final exam. So Krystle, talk to us about that.
Yeah, so yes, with the practice exam, you can go through it as much as you want, to spend as much time as you need on there. It's not timed, even though you might see the clock ticking, it's not really time, it's not counting against you. So there's no pass or fail rate with it. It's just so that you can practice. The actual final exam, that one is timed. It's literally a mock exam to the state exam in the sense of it's timed. So like the national part, you'll get your how much is it? I'm sorry, an hour, 30 minutes in total.
Yes, 90 minutes
90
for the
minutes.
national.
Yeah. So you'll get that 90 minutes for the national, and then you get the 30 minutes for the state. So that one is timed. And for my final exam, I did the national first. And when I was finished, I finished literally on time, that it just started the Maryland side immediately after it. So there was no breathing room in between. It just started immediately. So when the time hits, that's it. It's done. And then it moves on to the next one, and then it submits whatever you have at the end of that time.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you. Kiara. Okay, that's okay. Kiara, she's just sharing. Hey, you can call me Kiara. That's okay. Oh, you are gearing up for the second time. So you know what we're talking about here is I am so happy that you're not giving up. And Kiara, you are going back to take it. We are here to make sure that you are successful this time around. When it comes to now the next step, right? We're going to talk about the next step. So we have covered with Krystle is that you have finished the 60-hour course, whether you're taking it self-paced or you're going to take it with an instructor. Again, when you're ready, both options are going to be on our website, trainingwithbrenda.com. You have now gotten to the stage of passing that final exam. So what happens next? Krystle completed that final exam. She passed. The only way to get to the next step is that the school needs to do something. The school that you're going to take that course with is now going to let PSI, and PSI again is a testing facility, and let them know that now, hey, Krystle is ready to take the exam. Immediately they do that, you're going to get some correspondence from PSI allowing you to be able to go ahead and set up an account with PSI. They will give you that instructions in that email. So this is that spot when we say, check your emails often, go to your junk and spam folder. If it has been more than 2 weeks from when you completed that final exam with the school, connect with the school because they're the ones who would be able to make it possible for you to go take the state exam. You will register and let PSI know when you want to take the exam, and you're going to pay. The exam fee is currently $44. And remember again, from the moment you pass that particular final exam and complete your 60 hours, let's assume that's April 16th, 2025, you have 1 year to go and take the exam as many times as your budget allows. Now, Krystle, you're going to be talking to us about this exam. So walk us through this stage of where we are with you, Krystle, is you have finished the course, you have passed the final exam. Now you got the email from PSI. Talk to us about that stage before you walked in the building to take the exam.
Yes, I remember waiting for the email and it finally came. And I set up, I chose the date. I went to the Lord. I set up to the Lord Baltimore Drive location. And I actually had scheduled it for March 24th, which was yesterday. And I reached out to Brenda, and Brenda said, well, you know what I will say? I think it should be February 24th. And I just knew she was going to say that because I watch her videos all the time, encouraging us to take it sooner rather than later. So I eventually changed it for the 24th, which I'm really happy I did. And then
you listened to me.
I listened. She knows what she's talking about. So I scheduled for it, and I think when I scheduled for it, I had about 2 weeks to study for it. So within those 2 weeks time frame, that's what I did. I studied. 1 week I took to study the national, and then another week I took to study the state. And the preparation for that was me looking at videos. I can't stress how much videos I've looked at all of Brenda's videos. I know them by heart by now. It would get to the point where I would get to YouTube, and when I hit on the cursor to type her name is already there. I just select in all of her videos. All right. So it was the lifesaver. I used her videos along with the content that I was learning from the course, and her videos broke down everything to like real life situations so that you can actually understand it. And that's one thing with the course that you have to understand, not just memorize. So that was the first thing that Brenda told me. She said, make sure you learn to understand situation and application rather than memorizing. And that's exactly how the videos are taught. Her videos taught situations so that you can understand. So it doesn't matter what situation it is, you will know exactly what's going on. So I did a lot of videos. I practiced. I used the breakdown, the exam breakdown. I ordered that from her as well. I got the quizzes, which was a great help from your website. Those two, the national and the state quizzes. I'll say the math question that did come from that was the discount points questions. And those were the two I was able to answer on the exam because they were the shortest steps taken in math. The rest was just really long, but the discount point questions in your quizzes were actually there. It's just different numbers were used.
Right. Okay, good. We'll come back to the discount. We'll come back to math. So check out our website. Thank you. We have the breakdown of the questions. We also have an ebook on the Maryland content, and then we have practice questions. We focus right now on the Maryland real estate law. Yeah. So Kiara is like, yay. Yeah. So it is possible, my dear. It is possible. And soon, Kiara, I'm going to make an open invitation when it happens to you. Connect with me and you'll be our guest speaker in one of our future YouTube lives. So I'd love to do that with you. Let's review kind of what Krystle has mentioned. And if you need to go back and check a couple of things, you can always rewind back. Krystle mentioned that she went to the Baltimore location, currently located on the Lord Baltimore Drive. There's 6 locations. No, 8 actually. There are 8 locations in Maryland. You will hear me say this multiple times. Visit different places just to get a flavor as to maybe a different location is going to give you a better result and or ambience, I guess is the word I'm going to use. So don't be focused too much on which one is close to you based on where you reside or work. I know that's natural. The first time, if things don't work out well and you need to take it again, explore the other locations that are spread out through our state. Another thing to also mention to you is that you are able to take this in outside of Maryland, meaning let's say it is spring break and you're visiting family in, where would I use, Virginia or DC or even California. PSI is the one that provides the testing for a lot of different states. So you could be in Virginia taking the Maryland real estate exam, and or vice versa. Somebody who wants to get their license in Virginia could be in Maryland and taking that exam, as long as it is a PSI location. So now you've picked the location, you've picked the time. Before Krystle comes back and talks to us, what was that feeling to her walking into that PSI location? I just want to mention that schedule your exam to take it when you are your best. And when I say that, I need to give more details in terms of there are people I connect with and tell me, Brenda, I went to work and then I stopped working about 4, and then I went to take the exam at 6. Yeah. Your day was already jam-packed with decisions that you have to make while you're working. This is an exam that you are analyzing and applying the content. You do need to go in when you are your best, whether you're a morning person, afternoon, or evening, pick when you are your best. I realize I'm asking for a lot by saying maybe you need to take the day off. And for some people, that's not maybe possible. If you really have to work the day you're taking your exam, then allocate probably at least 4 hours before your exam where you're doing nothing. And when I say nothing, that means you're not working, you're either entertaining yourself or you're doing house chores or just walking. Nothing to do with anything that requires you to think through it, because your brain needs to be very fresh as you go take that exam. You do have the opportunity to pay what they call a convenience fee, which is $9 that you could pay when you register for the exam. And what that affords you is for you to cancel up to 24 hours before your scheduled date and time, and you don't lose your $44. To some of us, the extra $9 is a lot. So you are welcome to pay the $44, and you won't lose it if you reschedule 2 days before your exam date. So let's say I'm going to be taking the exam on the 28th of this month. I have until tomorrow to cancel it and not forfeit the $44. And I can reschedule it, let's say, for April the 10th. And you will see that on the website. Now, Krystle, where you are is you're in the car, you parked, now you're walking into the building, and probably talk to us what time you scheduled, when did you arrive, and then now you're walking into the building to take that state exam. Talk to us about that.
So again, I took your advice. The best time of the day for me was 8 o'clock in the morning. So I made sure I had breakfast, made sure that I have something on my stomach, my head is clear, everything is good. Got there at around 7:45. I waited until around 7:55 to walk in. And I did walk in originally with my purse. And then I quickly realized, oh, let me walk back to the car and drop that off. So you have to come in there with literally nothing but your car keys. And even with the car keys, if it has too much things on it, they'll ask you to return it back to the car. So I walked in there. There was no clear direction on what to do. Everyone was just sitting. So I didn't know if there was like a number system. There was no number system. You just have to remember who came before you. And you know that you go after them. So once I got in, it was my turn. I was, walked up to the desk. They asked me my name. I showed them my ID. And then they just put the name and information down in their system. They gave me a card back with the login information that I'll need to use for the computer. And then she did actually check my keys. I did have a gym membership key tag, and she was actually looking at it. And she was like, surprised what people come in there with. So it was a very extensive search on before you can actually enter the room. I had to hang up my winter jacket, had to take off my boots so that I can get scanned, empty pockets. And then you're able to go into the room and sit.
So do you think this took 5 minutes, or did you actually start at 8 or a few minutes later?
I think I started at around 8:25.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay. Okay.
there's a lot of people
So
ahead of me.
right. So someone that, if you're scheduled for 8, you can arrive there 15 minutes early to just go through the check-in part of it. And the reason why we're also planting the seed of you arriving 15 minutes or even 30 minutes early is because each location will present a different story. And even each person in terms of the how thorough they are in searching you. Krystle, I know you mentioned that there were other people, like if it's long sleeved, you'll be asked to just fold your sleeve and make sure. Some people will not allow you to go in with like a smartwatch or any watch. So all of this are things that are causing your anxiety level maybe to rise up. So just plan accordingly when you are taking that exam. As arrive as early as possible, get yourself situated, enough time for you to calm down and start the exam. Anything else you want to add in before now sitting down and starting on the exam?
Oh, they do also check your glasses to make sure it's not one of those smart glasses. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
look out
so
for
they check everything. They
everything.
check everything. Krystle mentioned the part of she carried her purse and then she had to put it away because it isn't storage. You're going to be given something to put in your keys. Did they give that to you? No? Oh, so you just walked in with your keys?
Just my
Oh,
key
okay.
and my driver's license, and that was it.
Did you give them a second form of ID or just your driver's
Just my
license?
driver's license.
Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Yes, Kiara is like, wow. Yes. So just be prepared for that, experience. Now we are that spot where Krystle has sat down. And just to let you know, when we are talking about this step of you taking the exam, sorry, I wanted to make sure that we're here. What I'm presenting to you is going to be what do you need or what is provided to you when you are at that particular spot. So spot meaning that you've now walked in, you've gone through the check-in process, now you sat down, what is provided to you so that you are, I guess, prepared. So you don't need to carry your calculator. Yes, they're math questions. They're going to provide you a simple calculator. You don't have to buy one. They will provide you a piece of paper. There'll be some information there that Krystle will guide us on, a pencil, earplugs for those of you who are distracted by noise. And then there will be probably one or two, Krystle will let us know her experience in terms of the math, something asking you to calculate using the amortization chart. For those of you who are wondering what that is in the financing topic, where we're talking about roughly you trying to figure out how much someone's monthly payment is going to be when they borrow a certain amount, and you're given the interest rate and you're given how long, and you're trying to figure out how much is that going to be, and maybe what it's going to be 2 months from now after somebody sends in a payment. So the amortization chart is going to be provided. Now, Krystle, before we get here, talk us through now you've sat down, you've gone through the check-in process. Walk us through that part. And we're breaking every single step for your benefit. Thank you to Krystle for doing this for us. Go
No,
ahead.
please. So my heart was pounding really, really fast. Walking to my desk. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. So yes, once you get to, it was cubicles for me. So once I get to the cubicle, it did have the amortization chart on the desk itself. So you can see there was one sheet of paper, a pencil, and a calculator, and the earbuds, which really did come in handy because we were able to hear the traffic outside. So it really did come in really handy for me. Um,
Okay.
Once you log into the computer, there is a few steps that you have to take. The first step is they're just showing you like how to utilize the system, how to use the computer. It's about, I think it was about 4 or 5 steps I had to go through the entire process. So the first
Okay.
step was showing you how to use the system, how to close, how to exit, how to pause,
Mhm.
not pause, but to see where your timer is, so you're
Right.
able to know when it's being timed. Once you exit out of that, then there's step two, where they ask a few questions, sort of like a mock to what you'll be
Mhm.
experiencing once you start the exam. And those questions were like, how many stripes are on the flag? How many stars are on the flag? Those type of things, just to get you in the rhythm of how the system is going to work when it's being timed. Then after that, I believe that's when I got to the Maryland portion of the exam. So the Maryland
Okay.
portion of the exam started. The timer was at the top right corner.
Mhm.
One thing did throw me off, which you later explained to me. I know it's 30 questions, but there were 35 questions. And I think you'll explain that. But yeah, that threw me off a little bit, but come to find out that was okay. Um, but it was still 30 questions that are being timed for 30
Correct.
minutes.
Correct.
And then
Correct.
after that, I was able to exit out and then go into the national portion of the exam. And
Okay.
again, it was the same process where it's timed. Um, it was 5 additional questions on there as well. And
Mhm.
then, which each question, some questions were short, some questions were long. It all depended on what topic it was. And individually, some questions you'll probably spend a few seconds on. Other questions you probably would spend more than an actual minute on, depending on
Mhm.
what it is. Those were the questions that you will, so you sort of had to balance your time. If I spend 5 seconds on this question, then I have a little wiggle room for the next question. And you just sort of balance your time in that sense to make sure that you meet the time, but also answer the questions and understand what you're reading.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
after that, then after the national was submitted, there was a survey I had to take at the end. And then
Okay.
after the survey, then the screen closed. Well, not closed, it was just like a little box in the middle of the screen to let you know you're completed. And then you walk out and the person at the
Yeah.
front desk gives you your results.
Okay. Okay. So a couple of things to digest there. The first one is when you sit down, your mindset is, okay, I'm ready. I just went through that search. I am ready to now get started on the actual exam. Here's where we're preparing you that they will force you to go through that step of making sure you understand how the system works, and the questions they're asking you, you're like, what has this got to do with real estate? So
Right.
it's nothing to do with whether you get it right or wrong. They just want you to understand how the system is set up. So that's one part. Then you mentioned that you started with Maryland for you. You got the 30 minutes. Another individual out there, because the different types of, or rather the different versions, no, not versions, variations of the exam. Another individual out there could start with the national. Whichever one you start off with, you'll be given the allocated time for it. And so Maryland is 30 questions for the salesperson and also 30 minutes for the broker exam. And then on the national side, you're getting 90 minutes for that part. What stood out for me is when you're done with one part, you're kind of given a moment to breathe in and say, okay, whatever happened with that one, I'm ready for the next one, because you're not able to get your results until you complete both parts of the exam. But when you're done with part one, which let's say is Maryland or national, there's a moment to breathe, and then you're able to go to the next part of the exam. So we're curious here, and some of you will let us know in the future where if you've taken the opportunity to now use this breather moment as a health break. I don't know if they allow you to do that, I can't answer that. Krystle, you didn't do that, right? You just went
No, I
on
just
with
went
it.
straight to it because I didn't know what was going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know the answer to that. I want to say probably not, but if they allow you, good, we're good. Here, I don't know whether they go through checking you again. I'm sure. Plan accordingly that you're not drinking a lot of fluids to allocate that 2 hour window that you have to go through both parts of the exam. We're in that spot where we are going to be sharing what's next. So, what happened after Krystle now has walked out and is now being given, here's what happened. So, the good thing is that for the real estate exam, you will know before you leave the building how it all worked out. For Krystle's side, and the reason why you'll probably hear is to hear how she passed the first try. So Krystle, sorry, bear with me. I think I opened the wrong slides. Give me 2 seconds here. Okay, this is where I wanted to be. Sorry, I had the wrong one. Bear with me. Krystle now has walked out the room. She has completed the exam within the 2 hour window, and she's now going to get the results. It is immediate. And so this is where I'm going to just show you how all of this happened. Is where Krystle was like, and if you read here, you're like, hey, Brenda, good morning. The guy said, she's not even saying I passed. She's saying the guy said I passed both, but I didn't get any receipt. Is that normal? Like she's not believing she has passed. She's been given a piece of paper, which by the way, they will take a picture of you before you walk into the room, and they're constantly monitoring you. So some people are like, Brenda, you should have prepared me for that picture. It doesn't go anywhere, but I'm going to say it. They will take a picture of you. So here's Krystle receiving the results that she has passed. She's not believing it. And then she's sending me a screenshot of the paper, I guess she got, or the screen that the guy showed to her. And she's looking for the word, what? Pass.
Right.
So I'm like, Krystle, it doesn't say you have failed, right? That's what we're not looking for that. So here, just like Krystle, you are just going to be told that, hey, you're good. The person, believe what the person is saying when they say you passed. If you didn't pass, they're going to give you the printout that shows the amount of questions shared and the questions that you got right. And then at the bottom of it, it will say fail. So talk to me about this moment when you sent this message.
I was in disbelief. I'm like, there's no way. I really was looking for the word pass. There was no word to let me know it was pass. So after I spoke to you and you told me, well, no, that's normal. I still really, I mean, I accepted what you said, but I was like, no, I need to see the word pass. And it wasn't until I got home that I went online to double check the PSI website to see if it said pass. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, well, they said I passed, but I still didn't believe it, really.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kiara is just saying congratulations. You'll be here soon. You'll be here. It takes a moment to sink in, I guess, is what you're experiencing. You will be in that spot where you might be where Krystle is, that you have passed. And for some of us, you might not be in that spot. This is where I'm going to say, go back. You can go back as many times as you want. Once you get your, not want, as you need. Once you get your real estate license, trust me, you're the only one who's probably going to remember this experience, and maybe your circle, the buyers, the sellers out there, the tenants and the landlords who are your future clients don't care. So please go back again, do it one more time, do it differently. Maybe you're going to now study a different way, or you're going to take it a different time or a different location, go back again the next day. When needed, we are also able to help you in terms of tutor sessions. Our videos, I know we're growing. We don't have everything. We're doing our best, and we're going to keep adding to our library. Let's go through the basics of what you're experiencing in terms of the exam. Now, sometimes I just say, hey, when you don't pass, go back again. And to some people, it's like, really, how many times do you want me to go back, Brenda? This is going to give you context in terms of the numbers. And if you watch our live for last month, I shared the January numbers. Some of you will be surprised, and I will say this is typical in terms of in the month of February of 2025, the total number of exams given out for that month, and this is everyone, was 710. If I fast forward to where you're seeing a percentage, here are 182 individuals like Krystle went to take the exam in the month of February. 57 passed. So Krystle is in that percentage of 31.3%. Yes, that is a low number, but that is typical in terms of very few of us go and pass the first try. So go back, keep going back. When it comes to just the state part, which is a Maryland real estate law, you're seeing the percentage is a little bit higher, thanks to people like me who have content on the Maryland real estate law. There are 80 questions that count towards your score and 30 questions that count towards your score for a total of 110. If you're watching this and you are going through the broker course, the broker exam, you will get fewer questions, but they will be longer, still giving you 80 points in state. Since you will be potentially supervising others, you get more questions. Either way, you're going to get the time of 2 hours. The breakdown of the questions are 11 topics on the national side. Now, when we say national, what does that mean? This means that whatever content you're learning while you're trying to get your Maryland real estate exam is applicable in Arizona, it's applicable in California, it's applicable in Oklahoma. For example, financing, what is the process to borrow money from the bank? That's what we're talking about when we say national. So these 11 topics, on the left-hand side, if you're seeing this is the printout of what you would get if things don't work out for you and you have to go back. It's going to give you the breakdown of the 11 topics, the number of questions, and to the right of the column of questions, you will be told how many questions you got right. That reminds me, some people are usually looking for, well, which questions did I get wrong? Do I have access to them for me to review them? The answer is no. Or some of us on the side where you have passed and you're curious, what percentage did I get to in order for me to pass? They're not going to share that. So all you're worrying about, my dear, is just getting the 70%, which is a passing score on the national and also on the Maryland. This also gives you an opportunity to know which are the topics that produce the most questions. That is the topic of contracts, the topic of practice of real estate, and agency. Maryland side is going to have 6 topics. We have a lot of resources that are able to help you on that particular topic. And lastly, here is how many questions do you need to pass? 56 questions out of the 80 for you to get your 70% on the national content, and 21 questions right for you to pass on the Maryland side for those of you who are taking the salesperson exam. My last comment, and then we'll shift over to Krystle for any final thoughts, is yes. She mentioned the extra questions. And I thought, Krystle, you said on the national is 5 or is it 10?
So for both was 5 each.
Okay, so I'll make my corrections here in that on the national side, these extra questions, if you're paying attention, the clock will kind of freeze. And when we're talking about the clock, there's a clock at the top right when you're taking the exam, it will kind of freeze. So these extra questions don't count towards your time and they don't count towards your score while they're there. Is just to see whether they're going to use them in a future version of the exam. So you will get a total of 35 questions on the Maryland and 85 questions on
Actually,
the
my correction,
national.
you're right. It is 10 additional questions because I remember getting
Okay,
to 80 and seeing 10 more and getting mad.
got
So
it. Okay, so it is 10.
yes,
Okay, so it is 10. Yes. So talk to us your final thoughts to that person who's watching and is like, okay, what else do I need to do? What else would you share for this person's to be successful?
yeah. So one of the things that I made sure I did was the Friday before I took the exam, which was on a Monday, I did absolutely nothing that weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, I rested my brain completely and did absolutely nothing, just to clear my head, to allow myself to unwind, and even to allow myself to feel the nerves because the nerves was going to be there regardless. So anything content or topic related, anything real estate related, I did not pay attention to. I just said whatever I learned the 2 weeks prior, that's just what I know.
There you
That's
go.
what I know. But most importantly, also, I did in my downtime, just like right before I go to bed, I'll go watch some videos just to like, refresh my memory. Every
Mm-hmm.
now and then, there are some topics that was really tough for me to get over. So I had to just, watch some videos to keep my brain understanding and remembering those type of content and topics. So mainly it was the matter of knowing when to stop studying and just allowing myself to relax so that on Monday morning when I went to take the exam, my brain was completely relaxed from anything.
Good. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. We are going to be parting ways soon. However, we're going to leave you with these particular statements or summary or words in terms of to encourage you is when you get to that spot, when you have the opportunity to schedule for your exam, you're going to potentially say things like, "Oh, I need a break. This has been a long time coming. I just want to take a break." Please don't, because you're going to be connecting with me when you only have a month left or 2 weeks left, and now you are rushing to beat that clock of the 1 hour window. Worst case scenario, I don't know your pocket, but this is where I'm going to say worst case scenario is you just schedule it and just see for yourself what this exam is all about. There are no expectations. You're just going in to see what it's about, and then you can plan accordingly. But what I'm stating is that you would then need to budget for at least 2 tries. So that's $88, but you are ready enough. Once you complete that course, go right away to take that exam. There are 8 locations, and you can even travel outside of Maryland to take it. There's a breakdown of the topics, which is what you could use as your guide. Right now, you've seen that the top 3 topics on the national content is the topic of contracts, agency, and practice of real estate. We have the breakdown on our website. Map it out when you're studying with that bulletin. That guide with the breakdown of the topics is now going to help you map out your study time and what you need to study. When needed, we are available to see whether we can do a tutor session. They're usually 90 minutes. You can check out our schedule and book a session there under trainingwithbrenda.com. Check out our videos. We appreciate upfront. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. We shall continue doing these live sessions to the best of our ability. Right now, we shifted to the last Tuesday of the month. Should you want to be our guest speaker, now I need to kind of create a system that will allow people to sign up for that. And the last statement from me today is success is what you define as success. So, whatever you're doing right now is being successful by taking the time to watch and listen to us and see how you can do things differently and reaching out should you need our services. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Krystle. Final thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening, everyone. And all the best to everyone that's about to take the exam or start the course. You can do it. And remember, you can do hard things.
There you go. Yes. Kiara, thank you so much. You are welcome. We shall be looking out for you when you pass because guess what? I do the continuing education classes as well. So I tend to meet people that have gone through our channel when they have their license, which is the joy of, which is, what brings the joy in what I do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone, have a good night.